Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake is a modern reimagining of the classic strategy game from 2001. It was developed and published by Koei Tecmo and is part of the long-standing Romance of the Three Kingdoms series. The remake seeks to retain the essence that made the original such a complex and enduring strategy title, whilst modernizing it for the newer generation of consoles, making the series more accessible to both newcomers and veterans with improved mechanics and visuals. It releases on October 24th for PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. But does it retain the complex strategic elements and grand scale that fans of the original loved? Given the expansive history and significance of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, it's important to begin by recognizing its origins. The series, developed by Koei Tecmo, first launched in 1985 and has since become one of the most influential franchises in the strategy genre. It combines military conquests, diplomacy, and managing relationships between officers. It is renowned for its deep strategic elements, role-playing, and historical simulation. The series is based on Romance of the Three Kingdoms, a classic Chinese historical novel by Luo Guanzhong. Blending historical elements with folklore, the novel focuses on the turbulent Three Kingdoms period, following the collapse of the Han Dynasty. China was divided into three warring states, Wei, Shu, and Wu, each led by a key figure, Liu Bei, Cao Cao, and Sun Quan, respectively. The period's iconic events, like the Battle of Red Cliffs and the political machinations between these leaders, are brought to life through the novel's larger-than-life characters. Players step into this turbulent era in the game, controlling historical officers and influencing key events. Scenarios allow players to either follow history or alter it, with their choices shaping the narrative. This freedom to choose and create your own experience is what makes Romance of the Three Kingdoms so valuable in the grand strategy genre. The ability to control officers, ranging from lesser-known or free officers to famous figures, gives players an open-ended experience. Players can choose different paths for alliance building, resource management, and diplomacy. The remake retains this core feature, allowing players to approach the Three Kingdoms period from various angles, empowering them to create their own stories and rewrite history through the officers they select. This freedom allows for any playstyle, from aggressive tactics to more diplomatic or economically focused strategies, giving the player significant replayability. Confrontation stays true to the grand scale of the series, with large-scale battles that require careful, long-term planning to outmaneuver the enemy. Players control the battlefield by commanding multiple units and occupations, using ambushes or surrounding enemy forces, demanding both foresight and adaptability. In addition to leading armies, the game introduces officer-to-officer duels, adding dramatic flair to key encounters. These duels significantly affect troop morale and battle outcomes, and while they retain Koei Tecmo's classic 3D style, they play out in a more indirect manner, with players choosing movements to guide their officers in combat. Officer discussions take a similar approach, offering reasoned combat for negotiations and diplomatic decisions between nations. Resource management is another vital component, requiring players to balance agriculture, commerce, and military funding to keep their empire strong. Effective city management is crucial for building a sustainable economy that supports long-term military campaigns. Players must also develop infrastructure while maintaining a steady supply flow from all fronts to ensure success on the battlefield. Relationships play a crucial role. Officers can form sworn brotherhoods or marry, adding layers of complexity to the game's relationship dynamics. These personal bonds directly affect troop behavior and loyalty in battle, often making the difference in crucial confrontations. Officers with strong relationships fight harder together, and their bonds can influence alliances, diplomacy, and long-term strategy. However, broken relationships and rivalries can lead to fractured alliances and even strategic failures. By forging alliances or sowing the seeds of rivalries, players can dramatically shift the direction of the story and the outcome of the campaign. The original game was known for its steep learning curve, which can be daunting for new players. One of the most significant improvements in this game is the well-crafted tutorials that make the complex gameplay more approachable for newcomers. The game offers detailed but concise tutorials, gradually introducing players to the deep mechanics needed to conquer China. They're structured in a way that provides step-by-step instructions on everything from combat to resource management and officer interactions. A fictional in-game advisor guides the player, integrating tutorials into the narrative in a seamless manner. Despite the inherent complexity, the remake strikes a good balance between accessibility and challenge, something rare in the modern and aggressive video game industry. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake uses semi-live 2D animation for its characters, both in and out of cutscenes. This technique blends the traditional series art with modern methods often found in VTubing and certain gacha games, making the characters feel more dynamic and alive in a 2D setting without requiring full animation. Characters no longer feel static, with subtle animations like breathing, smiling, and slight movements adding immersion to even the simplest moments. While it felt slightly uncanny at first, I quickly adapted to the style, and by the end, I found myself preferring it. The semi-live animation makes even minor characters stand out, bringing more depth to every interaction. The cutscenes also benefit from this technique, resembling moving paintings that beautifully depict key moments in history. These scenes enhance the game's storytelling, giving a sense of historical grandeur and weight to the events depicted. Regarding art, environments are mostly limited to interface exploration, but they are intricately designed to reflect the respective locations. In the sections that involve full 3D gameplay, like officer duels or discussions, the design echoes Koei Tecmo's Warrior series, giving the game a polished and familiar aesthetic. The soundtrack is dynamic and distinctly Chinese, using beautiful orchestral pieces that adjust based on whether you're engaging in a battle or planning strategies. It enhances both calm moments of reflection and the intense confrontations of battle, making each segment of the game feel distinct and appropriately atmospheric. The sound effects during battles, such as the clash of weapons and the cries of officers, contribute to the chaotic atmosphere, amplifying the tension of engagements. Ambient sounds in non-combat scenarios, like the hustle of city life or the quiet moments of diplomacy, help immerse the player in the historical setting. These subtle details create a fuller auditory experience, pulling the player deeper into the world of the Three Kingdoms. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake successfully modernizes a classic for a franchise that the West isn't necessarily accustomed to. Its accessible design and detailed tutorials make it extremely welcoming to beginners, while history enthusiasts, especially those fascinated by Eastern history, are in for an absolute treat. If you're already a fan of the series, there's no doubt you'll enjoy it, but even those unfamiliar with Chinese history or grand strategy games will find plenty to engage with in this thoughtfully remade experience. Final Weapon is giving Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake a 4 out of 5 stars. Koei Tecmo provided Final Weapon with a Steam copy of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake for review purposes.